In this video, we're going to demonstrate an example of how Winshuttle Studio can be used to update existing equipment master data. Winshuttle Studio is a suite of products that can be accessed in Excel using the Winshuttle add-in tab. With Winshuttle Studio, users can extract data live from SAP and upload data directly to SAP, all from an Excel workbook. Data uploads can be completed for new or change SAP transactions for both master and transactional data. In this Equipment Master demo, we will see SAP login requirements. Winshuttle requires users to log into SAP and respect all SAP security. If users don't have access to the data in SAP, they will not have access using Winshuttle. We will also show a live extract of existing Equipment Master data, look up allowed values, both built-in SAP data lookups and options to customize lookup allowed values based on the business process requirements. Next, we will update the existing data in Excel, validate the data before uploading to SAP, and finally upload changes to SAP. Being able to extract current data, make changes to the data, and upload the changes back into SAP is a process we refer to as round trip. Let's see it in action. This is an Excel template created to give users the ability to do mass maintenance of equipment master data. Some of the header cell backgrounds are different colors. Each different color represents a different tab or section in a tab in the SAP Equipment Master screen. For example, there's Equipment Header Data, General Data. Inside General Data we have Reference Data and Manufacturer Data. And we also have Location and Organization Data. To use Winshuttle from within Excel, we will need to click the Winshuttle Run tab. Within the Winshuttle Run tab, we can see the Winshuttle ribbon. And you'll notice the first two things are we are logged into Winshuttle. We are also logged into SAP. So the advantage to logging into SAP is we're actually able to use our SAP user credentials. And this is where we validate that the user has the authority to do what he or she is trying to do. In the next section, we have a drop down. We've got several different things we can do in this file. In this example, we're going to read some equipment data out of SAP, and then we'll turn around and do an update. So in our template, we've got some equipment numbers listed, and we're going to use those to populate the data from all of the tabs from the Equipment Master. So let's take a look. So we're going to run this read equipment, and we'll click the Run tab. That's going to go live into SAP and extract that data out for each one of those equipment. The yellow status bar lets us know where we are along the way. And as you can see, it's pulling in information from every single one of those tabs and populating it in the spreadsheet for us. And you'll notice we've successfully extracted 5 and we had 0 errors. So now that we've extracted that existing data, I'm going to go ahead and close the status bar just to give myself that real estate back. And I want to update a couple of fields. For example, the ABC indicator field and the planner group. I'll also not update everything and leave some exactly the same just so you can see what happens whenever you don't update it and upload the data back in. Also, I'll put in a couple of errors so that you can see the differences. In the cases where there's a field that has a lookup column in SAP, so for example the ABC indicator, if the user doesn't know the valid values for ABC indicator, we can look this up. And we're going to switch over to update equipment so that we're ready to do some changes. So let's say, for example, in our ABC indicator column we want to change maybe a B to a C, for example, in this case. If this has a lookup in SAP, we can actually go to lookup values, and Winshuttle will go live into SAP and pull up that list for us to show us what's valid. As you can see, this is the actual SAP lookup list, and we'll click on C to change it and then click on a checkbox. If you have data in your column already, it will ask if you want to overwrite, and I'm going to say yes here. I could also manually type some information in here, and we'll make this one an error just to show, and then I'll change this one. Also, so in our planner group column, let's say we want to change the planner group. This also has an SAP lookup, but in this particular example, we've limited the number of allowed values. So if you think about that, anytime you have a situation where maybe you have a 50, for example, different options in SAP, but for this particular process, you want a much shorter list. And we're using planner group, but it could be for anything: work center, plant, country, all kinds of manufacturer, whatever the business requires, you can actually do a shorter list. So if I click on one of the planner groups and click on lookup values, as you can see, I have a short list of 11 options, and this is what I'm restricting the user to put in. So it's going to be a valid SAP value, still has to be that. However, I made it shorter. So I'm just going to click a different one, and yes, I want to overwrite. And again, I'll make some changes on these other. And we'll just copy and paste down. And we left the planner group the same, this particular row the same, so you can see what happens there. So, and I'll just put another error here. So now that I've finished making my changes, I want to validate that my data is correct. So we're actually able to validate it before we write it to SAP by running a validation. So I'm just going to scroll over a little bit, and this is our validate column. So any information returned from SAP will be returned to the validate column. Again, we're not writing to SAP, but we're going to go up here and click on validate. And that's just going to check each row to see if there's an error. If there is an error on the row, it will be returned in this column. So it looks like we've got a couple errors, and it's put it in this beautiful orange color here, letting us know that there is a problem. So on this particular row, it's saying there's a problem in the ABC indicator field. So let me go over here and change this to a valid value. Again, I could use my lookup values if I wanted. And then on our custom rule, where we've limited the number of options, it's actually telling us the cell where there's a problem. So in 89, which is right here. So I'm going to put in a valid value. And the thing to mention about this is if you have thousands of records and a few errors, you don't want to have to validate each line again. So you can come up here and do validate only error rows. So it will only look at these two rows and let us know if we have fixed our error. First one looks good, second one looks good. Okay, so it looks like we've got some successful data, and we're ready to actually run the data and write to SAP this time. So I'm going to scroll over, and we've got another log column. And again, and just so you know for your information, this is an extended log column, which will give you more details about what was in the log column. So I'm going to click on Run. And now, instead of just validating against SAP, we're going to actually write to SAP. And what will happen is it will tell us if something was entered or not, or something was updated or not, and you just notice the screen flashed. And what happened there is, see how this backup data checkbox is selected? When you're doing changes in SAP, you actually have the option to back up the data before you did the changes. So for example, it created another tab down here, and it's called BK, and then it's the date and the time that it was run. That just allows you to go in this tab and see what the data was before you did the upload. And if you ever need to roll back your changes, you can. It's also good for auditing purposes as well. So as you can see here, remember, we didn't change the first record, which is actually row 5, so no changes were made. And then it makes a note that we changed all of the other equipment. So now you have completed your updates, and you can do this for thousands of records, but we just did a handful today. So as a review, we saw that we are able to log into SAP, and we will respect all SAP security. We extracted some existing equipment master data. We showed how out-of-the-box built-in SAP data lookups are available, but we also have the options to limit those allowed values. Then we updated the existing data in Excel, validated the data, fixed errors, and uploaded the data back into SAP. Today's demonstration was specifically around maintaining SAP equipment master data. However, Winshuttle Studio can help businesses automate thousands of other SAP transactions around the creation and maintenance of data. When it comes to plant maintenance, Winshuttle Studio can also be used to help automate other technical objects like functional locations, classes and characteristics, and bills of material. In addition, Winshuttle Studio can help automate SAP plant maintenance transactional data like notifications, work orders, and much more. Visit winshuttle.com for more information.